When you're thinking of creating a website, probably the last thing on your mind is how much carbon dioxide will the server that my website is hosted on will release. Is my eShop for underwear with animal faces on it killing the planet? But oddly enough, that's exactly what GreenGeeks tries to solve. You see, in a regular case, it's estimated that data centers are responsible for around 2 to 4% of global carbon emissions. This doesn't seem like all that bad, but it's equivalent to the whole aviation industry. So GreenGeeks takes the energy your website uses up and makes sure that 3 times the amount of that goes back into the grid via wind power. Additionally, they plant 1 tree for each hosting account they have. While this is great, it's kinda meaningless if their web hosting service itself isn't good. So I bought their Lite plan for $2.95 a month and created a test website that you can actually test for yourself on Emit.Geek.com. It has been online and running for over 3 months now, and here's what I have to say. First of all, the website speed, it's not great. Even when testing from Amsterdam, that's where my server is located, I still get a TTFB of 400 milliseconds and a fully load time of 6.5 seconds. Keep in mind, this is with the lowest physical distance between my testing location and my server possible, so it should give me the best test results. However, if someone from, let's say, the United States tries to visit my site, these results get even worse. TTFB goes up to 1.2 seconds and the fully loaded time is 4.6 seconds now. Now, just so you understand what's going on, let's break it all down. Website speed is measured in 2 stages. Stage 1 is the TTFB, or time to first byte, and it shows how fast the server is able to respond and start loading the website. And stage 2 is how long it actually takes to load the files once it has started. In an ideal scenario, you want your TTFB to be under 100 milliseconds and your full load time around 1 to 2 seconds. As you can see here, we're like 10 times over our ideal TTFB and 2 to 4 times over our ideal full load time. It's definitely not what you want from your web hosting company. It's also important to understand that stage 1 is fully dependent on the server. There's little to no way you can influence or speed it up at all. Stage 2, however, depends on a multitude of factors and user skill, like the TTFB, how well your website is coded, how clean is the code, or how many files you have on your web server. But even if I optimize my website to the best of my ability and knowledge, getting the load time down to just 0.7 seconds, I'm still held back by the massive and inconsistent TTFB. So the final result is a slow website no matter what I do. But since I'm also doing all of these tests on the same day, I also wanted to make sure that these results are the norm and not the exception. So I wouldn't be blaming a provider for being slow when they're just upgrading their infrastructure or experiencing a temporary issue. So I've sent a bot to my website every minute for 3 months. His job was to check how fast the server responded and if my website is even online. But sadly, a 3-month average showed that the TTFB is always around 2.4 seconds. That means that every action on this website lags for 2.4 seconds before it even starts loading anything. Remember, the number you want from your web hosting provider is anywhere from 0 to 300 milliseconds at most. So I did what any user in my position would do. I've logged into my GreenGeeks control panel, opened up a live chat window, and asked for help. The support agent wasn't able to help during the live chat. They've actually escalated the problem to level 2 support. I hate when this happens, but to GreenGeeks' credit, they did respond the same day. At least. As for the response, it was terrible. They told me that, hey, we've checked out your website and it seems fast to us. Here's a link to a tool we used. And if I access their own link that they gave me, it shows me that my website loaded in 2.3 seconds, which again, is not even a good result, since this exact same website should load in around 1 second, as I've tested it on plenty of different web hosting companies by now. But I've explained that I'm not satisfied and that the problem seems to be with the server, not with my website. But the support agents doubled down on blaming my site and told me to set up Lightspeed Cache, which by the way was already set up on my site, so they didn't even check and wipe their hands clean of this problem altogether. Now normally, at this point, I would buy a more expensive plan and see if the performance gets better. But I only do this when I see that different plans use different architecture. Like some providers use SSD storage with Apache on their cheaper plans and NVMe storage as well as Lightspeed software on their more expensive ones. But GreenGeeks uses the same architecture for all of their plans. Each plan simply comes with more resources. But more resources wouldn't help my site because think of web hosting as a cake. The taste of the cake stays the same no matter how much of it you have. If one slice tastes bad, the whole cake is bad. Having more of it simply allows you to share it with more people. The same thing happens with web hosting servers. More resources won't make your site faster. It'll only help the site stay online when more visitors come to visit. So while I respect the green approach, for you as a customer, of course, that's gonna inflate the price. GreenGeeks starts at $2.95 per month and renews at $11.95. That's definitely not cheap when compared to similar options. Obviously, energy doesn't grow on trees, and even if it did, it still costs money to plant those trees that GreenGeeks are planting. Interestingly enough, GreenGeeks do not use green energy themselves because it's unreliable for server use. They simply buy wind power credits from another company and give that energy back to the grid. In my opinion, this essentially means you pay 4 times the amount of the energy bill your hosting has accumulated, since ultimately these tree planting and wind energy costs are passed down to you, the customer. But look, I'm not an environmentalist. I'm a web developer. I need speed, I need reliability. So at this point, I can't recommend you go for GreenGeeks based on these results. Competitors like Hostinger, InterServer, ChemiCloud, or WebHostMost offer lower pricing, better performance, and better support. So that's what I suggest you look into instead. Unrelated, but kinda weird is that I also had to send them a picture of my passport after purchase, since they immediately banned my account even after I paid the money. It was completely locked until I sent them the picture of the passport for verification. I'm not saying this will happen to you, I'm just saying it can happen to you. But if you're looking for the best cheap web hosting providers that offer the absolute top of the line performance for the bottom shelf price, check out this video next where I outline just that. My name is Emit, good luck hosting your websites, and I'll see you in the next video.